It's Warren Huart here with Produce Like a Pro, and I'm with the very wonderful Brent Fischer. How are you?
Excellent, thank you.
I've had the privilege to be here all day, and it is, what is it, about 10-ish now?
Yep, we've gone 12 hours and recorded 6 songs. 7, actually. We did one in 10 minutes there at the end.
Which was absolutely insane.
Thank you.
I mean, what a guitar player.
Yeah, yeah.
Larry Koonse, is that how you pronounce it properly?
Yeah. Like I said, this session today was not just the cream of the crop, it's the cream of the cream at the top. I mean, it's really, we got lucky that everybody was in town and available and, you know, the stars aligned.
I know, what a bass player.
I mean, all these guys have played on practically every, not just all the jazz albums that you've heard, but all the, you know, the orchestral backgrounds on just about every genre, plus many TV shows, films, you know, many of the John Williams scores, all the things you've heard, orchestra and movies, all these guys have been doing this stuff for years and years and years, and, you know, I've gotten to know them well, and I know how to write for them, and that's why
that's a huge skill.
Specifically chose, you know, special features for each musician during.
Oh, it's incredible.
During each song. It's
a very well-oiled machine. Your engineer Matt's superb and a great guy.
Yeah.
Really on it.
He's really, at the top of his game.
I'm really impressed with Matt, the other Matt. He only hires people called Matt, apparently.
Yeah.
With the other Matt, who I think has a wonderful ear, because I mean, he's an assistant. What would you call that job where he's sitting
production
there
assistant? Yeah, he's reading along on the scores because I'm concentrating on, you know, I'm looking at 16 moving parts on my score. So I'm concentrating on the big picture, and every once in a while I will hear, you know, a part that we need to do over. But Matt is really zooming in on that stuff because he doesn't have to sit up there and conduct. Sure. You know, he can put his full attention on listening critically to everything, and so second set of ears really helps. Especially
I thought he
set
had
of ears like his. Yeah.
He was catching 2 or 3 things, and I was like, I heard that, but I didn't hear that. I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, he's very detailed. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a great team, very well, as I say, very well-oiled machine. Easy for me to say. I think the thing that impressed me most is, and always when I go to a well-run session, is calmness.
Yeah.
In the face of any kind of adversity, because there's always something when you plug in something in, and this has to be changed. There's always that kind of stuff. It's like, it's not so much about, you know, whether there's a technical problem, it's how you handle it. You know?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And, you know, I think it's a big lesson for people who are getting into the industry, especially, you know, like I'm very little sleep last night. That's not the way I like to go into a 12-hour session. I'm going to try and get a little bit more tonight, but it just happened to turn out that We had also some software glitches in the music preparation last night. So even just getting all the music prepared to print out, so we have all the printed music ready for today, took us a little longer than we expected. And I have to remind myself when I come in on a session like this, where I'm on very little sleep, that there is this sort of thin veneer that we call our civilized self that sort of disappears if you don't get enough sleep. You go to your primordial brain function. That's all about survival of the fittest and fight or flight, all those basic psychological things. And so you can have a tendency to snap at people or to get frustrated easily. And I did get frustrated with a few of the software issues we had with the functioning in the control room. But that's in any big session like this, it's to be expected every once in a while.
Yeah, and they dealt with it pretty darn quickly.
Yeah, Matt came up with the final solution, right?
The final solution, yes.
With your great help and getting in touch with the guy, thank you for confirming.
He called us back after Matt had figured it out. He called back and confirmed it was right. So that was nice to know when you get a top guy at Avid says, yes, you're right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Having those types of reassurances and the studio getting also involved, every time we had an issue that needed solved, they got somebody on it so that we could move along at the pace we were moving along. We recorded, more than 40 minutes of music, something like 40 minutes of music.
About 40 minutes of music. And I think it's very important for anybody, who, depending on whether they've already heard the music or not. This isn't pads. These aren't like string pads, playing A minor and C major, F and G chords.
Yeah.
There's some, I think the second piece was very Charlie Parker.
Yep.
It had that, kind of lines all over it.
Yep. And all those guys were sight reading that material for the first time today.
Insane.
That's what I love about professional musicians who have had this wide range of experiences over many years and played in all different genres. I use a lot of those string players on the work that I did for Prince and D'Angelo, Questlove. And the horn players too. So they are familiar with all styles, and they can just sort of jump into something and make it sound like they've been playing it on tour for 2 years.
Now I saw some incredibly seasoned, amazing players. I also saw a couple of young ones there that were incredible as well, which is really good to know.
I'm always looking out for new talent, I'm always willing to listen to somebody new, and I can tell pretty quickly if a person is truly talented, and has a gift, and then also you figure out where those lie.
Now, obviously, you came up with your father, and that must have been insane growing up in that household.
Well, I didn't know any other existence. I just grew up in a household where there was music all the time. I remember laying under his grand piano with our family dog, just listening to him compose and practice, and all of his friends were musicians, so that's all I knew. I didn't go to career fair in high school. I was already a musician by then because I didn't know any better. I just figured, oh well, you grow up and you become a musician, and then you start going into the studio. So I did my first album at 15, and that won a Grammy the next year, and so that was a
amazing
great way to start my career, and then it just sort of
wonderful stuff.
Blossomed out from there. I did get a college education, and a lot of stuff that I did in college came in very handy later. I didn't even realize when I was going through college at the time that learning how to play the piano would come in so handy as a composer and arranger later on, and help me with my production.
You're also a wonderful bass player, by the way.
Thank you. Well, that's part of my training, and my degree is actually in symphony percussion, but I paid for the degree by gigging on electric bass. And then that just sort of continued, and then I ended up doing a little bit of everything, contracting, getting into artist management for a while, and dealing with record companies for record deals and publishers for book deals and things like that for other artists, and also contracting for other arrangers. So I got to see firsthand how other people work while I was going through it. So wide range of experience. And, you know, I did some touring as well. So I have road experience, you know.
That's amazing.
Traveling experience. And these all helps you sort of inform your decisions, you know.
And I would imagine makes you a great producer.
I like to think so, but, you know.
Because you can relate to artists on all these different levels.
Let's rehearse on tape. Here we go. Top, everybody. There's always something that you can learn. So I still look at everything, even after all these years in the music industry. I still look at every session or every meeting that I go into as an opportunity to learn something more about this, you know, this beautiful craft that we all engage in.
It's wonderful, isn't it amazing that this still exists?
Yeah,
I know that sounds such a crazy thing to say. But
not everybody realizes that. You know, it's even like I play vibraphone and marimba, and those are, you know, not widely used instruments, let's say, especially not compared to guitar or something like that. But so I was, you know, recording a part for somebody, and they did a little post about it on YouTube, and there was a comment that said, "Wow, marimbas! I didn't even know those existed anymore." Yeah, of course they do. Yeah, you can go hear them playing in any great symphony orchestra. You know, yeah, go check out live music, because it's really an amazing thing. You know, to hear how people put stuff. This is one aspect in the studio, where we're making a polished performance and we're getting very granular with all the details, but when stuff happens live, there is no second take. You know, there's no going back and trying it again. So it's a special way to listen to music and to participate in music. And you know, when you get great musicians doing that all together, and essentially what we had in some of these situations was a live performance, because we got everything in the first take.
yeah, absolutely.
You know, and then it was just a question of honing in on a couple of details to...
Last thing you just did with Larry playing guitar, I mean, yeah, use the full last take.
Yep. And the first take was the best, and that's the one we're going to keep, and that was done in less than 10 minutes. Yeah, the time it took to press record and finish. Yep, basically finish the piece.
Absolutely wonderful. I think, you know, in the sort of realm where I work more in rock, I find that there's a lot of lip service paid towards, you know, real musicians, you know, versus like gritting things. And it's now become, the older I get, the more I do this, I feel like it's what we need to go back to. And I don't mean we need to go back to it. I think it's going to come around in a big, big way, because we've been stuck in a rut now for so many years. Yeah. The only thing logically that's left to come back is literally performance. Yeah. Is capturing great performances. Because when I first started making records, I remember, I played all stringed instruments. So I'd be the bass player playing. I'd come in, I'd listen, and the producer would go back in and punch that bar and that bar. Okay, yeah. There wasn't sort of like, you know, if the drummer was pulling, I had to push and pull with him. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And you ended up with a track that obviously, you know, breathed. It just breathed, and everybody was playing off each other. And what's great about seeing orchestral and big band and, you know, all these players playing together is it's a sort of culmination of so much talent, and you're watching them push and pull the timing, but all in one big ship that you're steering. Yeah, yeah. And that you arranged. Yeah. And it's amazing talking to the artist. Before I was like, oh, I'm really excited to hear the arrangements. He goes, me too, I haven't heard them yet. Yes. Which I thought was quite fantastic. He's walking in cold, completely trusting, which is amazing. Yeah, I mean, I didn't do any sort of mock-ups for this, because you can't do what these musicians did for us today. You can't do that justice in a mock-up. I mean, there are a lot of great
virtual instrument libraries out there, and they have their place, and a lot of people are very happy using that stuff. But I'm happy using live instruments as well, and there's no way that you can recreate the, hundreds of thousands of subtle nuances that a fine musician can throw in a single recording. It's literally, I mean, you can't even analyze it all. It's so detailed. It would be like, analog recording on analog tape would be, I guess, the equivalent of, something. What is it? We're at, I think we're recording at 88.2 K right now. Mm-hmm. So imagine if we were doing it at like 88,000 K or something. That's the level of detail that goes into it. And these are sort of things that happen instinctively, after years of training.
Brass to me is one of the biggest ones, because strings, you can write parts that play off the sort of, strengths of digital.
Yeah.
And avoid the weaknesses.
Right.
Brass is a tough one.
Yeah, of course. And some of these other lesser known instruments, we had alto flute in there and bass clarinet and, all the different saxes from soprano on down to baritone today.
Oh, the great hearing.
I've also written for sopranino sax, which is about this big, and contrabass sax, which is 6.5 feet tall.
Wow.
And you have to, you need a player with big lungs for that instrument, right? Mm-hmm. And so, this is a great pleasure I have in my life doing recording sessions like we did today.
I don't know if you know my friend Louise Goffin.
Oh, yeah.
And you may have worked together over the years.
Yeah.
And when you explained, like, it's the only thing I knew, this is what I thought. That I remember asking, I was like, so, and she's like, I go into a studio. It's the only time I feel at home.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I feel at home outside of the studio too, but I'm very comfortable in here.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to go into any situation. So, and that's because I'm approaching it from a standpoint of I'm going to go learn something today. I learned a lot of things today, and I'll take that knowledge with me onto the next session. Not that I want to go back and redo anything today, but it just helps inform the decisions I'll make in the future.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if we're not learning, we're not growing as human beings, and it's not much fun, is it?
Yeah,
it's not much fun when you know it all. Don't you feel like, this might be a little sidetrack thing here, I feel like, because I'm a guitar player, and he knows, I still play every day, 6 hours a day.
Great.
This is one of the few days I don't hold a guitar the whole time. When I'm working, when I'm producing, I play guitar. I have to know the song.
Right.
If I have to go and play a song, I just want to go in there, front up the mic and play the song.
That's
great.
What
I mean? You understand? You just want to be in there.
Absolutely.
But it's taken a long time to be that guy.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, I just want to do it. I want to do it all the time.
Yeah, of course.
I want to make music and record music and write music all the time, because now, you have that initial slope where you get good at your instrument, a couple of years of working your butt off, and then there's a plateau. And the plateau can last a long time for a lot of us. We're really good, but when that point where it clicks and everything starts making sense, and you're listening and you're hearing all the harmony and the melody going on, and you just pick up, it's beautiful. And yeah. So I just appreciate you said, bring that up about learning, because once you have the ability to be able to learn, that was the thing for me. It's like I had to work really hard to open that door where I could accept new pieces of information, I could process it, and just like every day is so exciting now.
Right. Great. Yeah, I know the feeling.
And this was a wonderful experience to be here. I mean, that we just stayed the whole day and filmed some stuff, because it was just an amazing experience.
And you're welcome to come tomorrow. It'll be a little bit different experience. We have, again, some unusual ensembles instead of a standard big band.
Great.
Or a standard string section. We'll have a mixed brass ensemble.
Wonderful.
A little bit smaller size, but it's a unique type of sound. And then I have a clarinet choir coming in.
And a clarinet choir.
Yeah, and so that's like...
Who knew there was such a thing?
That's like a string section made out of clarinets.
Oh, wow.
And so it's a beautiful sound, I mean, for carrying on, let's say rich harmonies, first is, you know, vocals, and then strings, and then when you hear clarinet harmonies too, that's just because they have that very pure tone. There is, you know, if you look at the waveform and the way the overtones are set up, it's a very clean, pure tone. There's not a lot of either grit or upper partials or anything like that. It's you know, kind of, well, I don't want to say sine wave or anything like that, but it's, you know, it's just very natural and gentle, and so it lends itself well to a lot of different uses. That's
amazing.
Yeah. So we'll hear more tomorrow.
Well, thanks ever so much for having us here. I really appreciate it.
All right. You are welcome, man. Thank you for your interest.
Oh, it's going to be great. People are going to love this.
Yeah.
They're really going to love this.
Enjoy, everybody. 8 clicks with a 4-beat fill to lead us into bar 1. All right, here we go.